What is up, kings and queens? Today we have our first segment of the H to the Power of 4 series, and the first part is called Healing. And in the house, I got my guests. First up, we have Brian. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Brian. Brian the bar. Yeah.
Okay. Then we have Ngo. Please introduce yourself.
Hi guys, I am Mo and I'm going to be here discussing a few points on healing, as Tando has mentioned.
You don't have a surname.
I'm not really dancing. Wow.
Okay. Travis, take it away.
Slow. Here to discuss a few things about healing.
Okay. Yandi.
Yandi Petwa. I'm here to bring the fun.
Okay.
Healing.
Okay.
Healing.
Not just the fire, the healing too. Okay. We have met the people. Right. We've done the first part. Okay, guys, I want to know from you guys how you would define healing.
Since I'm put on the spot, I think to me healing is letting go of pain in a way, or not even letting go, but accepting it as something that you're not whole in a way, but accepting it as that, and then working through being better with it being there in a way. To me, okay. I don't know if you get me.
I get you. We catch your drift,
yeah,
girl. We get it. Is anything else you want to add to that?
No, with only the definition, that's all I had to say, really, for me.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody or Yandi has a different explanation to that, according to her.
I once read a quote that said, healing is taking the knife out of your back and not using it to hurt the next person. And that's what I would define healing.
Okay, that makes sense.
Gentlemen, what is healing? One of the gentlemen, speak to me.
And go first. If I cut off, then it's fate. It's fate. But to try and define healing would be tricky, I would say, because it's not a one size fits all type of thing. But I do like the quote that Yandi brought forth, that it is taking the knife out of your back and not trying to, at least doing your best not to use it on someone else. And using a knife could be in many forms. It could be stabbing, it could be cutting. Although it might not be a one-size-fits-all type of phenomena, that one quote actually sums it up.
Right.
For me personally, healing, it's first of all something that takes time, right? It's something that takes time.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's something that takes time. So even our own body itself, when you're sick or have an accident, it takes time for your body to like produce cells to fight off whatever your body, you feel me? So healing in everything it takes time for the person or the body to heal itself. So yeah, you can't say you're gonna heal overnight or anything like that. It's something that takes time. For me,
I also wanted to add that I feel like it's not linear. So one day you feel like, okay, I'm definitely healed, and then the next you feel like I'm back to square one, where literally everything is impossible to do. So it's literally just not linear. It's a up and down thing.
Yeah. To add to that, to add to that, it's like, it's almost like when you go to therapy, like if you're going to therapy, people expect, and even you as the person going to therapy, you might expect that, okay, because of me going to therapy, I'm going to be completely healed. This thing that gets to me is not going to come back again. Like, it's just going to vanish into thin air.
Go away.
But it takes, as Brian said, it takes time. And as Ngo said, it's not linear. So literally, you'll find yourself one day, you'll be like, okay, therapy really equipped me to move forward. And then the next day, the very next day, you are crashing. And it's not because, and I don't think that we should let ourselves be defined by, because often we'll get defined by the fact that we crashed and we're not feeling the way we should be feeling. But we must start defining ourselves in the way of, listen, we are trying. We took the first step towards our healing. That's what we should be thinking. So yeah. That's what I take from what you guys said.
But I feel like people don't talk about how hard it is for us to look and focus on the good rather than the bad, because the bad really overpowers the good most of the time. Like, we should aim, as you said, we should aim to focus on the parts where I woke up, I tried, regardless of how I'm feeling, regardless of how trashy things are, regardless of how broken I feel, I still am living. But we rather focus on how broken we are because it's the easier route. So it's not easy, but a person should strive to continuously and intentionally focusing on the good, which is I am living regardless.
And just to say, before we move on to the next part, there is this quote, it was a quote, something about a person saying that, what was it? The fact that we it's what my sister's friend was speaking to her, and she was like, sometimes we actually build a home in our sadness or negative feelings because we can't imagine ourselves outside of that and how we would feel if we actually embrace some positivity. It's the same as if maybe you've been sleeping in a room that is completely dark for the longest time. As soon as someone comes and opens the curtains, you'll just be like, too much light. So literally, it's like, that's how without healing or on the journey of healing, we're living our lives. It feels like, we've built a home. I'm home in my sadness. I'm happy here. I'm happy here. And then when the light comes in, it feels so unfamiliar that it feels almost like it's threatening what you know or what you've become used to. So I was just like, I was blown away when my sister told me that. I was like, damn. I had to like search within myself. I was just like, have you built a home, a double-story mansion within your sadness or within your negative feelings? What is going on? And I had to unpack on that. So yeah.
Can I just add to what you said, right? She said something about is it no said something about talking about it. Sometimes it's not that easy to talk about it because first of all you need to trust the person you're talking to. Trust that person.
Definitely.
So back to the quote that you were talking about, light. So the person needs to be able to trust the light that is coming into his life to be able to open up to that person, say, okay, this is what is going on and I can't deal with that and this and that. But if you don't trust the person, then you're going to keep it to yourself because you know how people are. It's a crazy world, man.
It definitely is.
It really is. That's true. It's true.
Also, like put my 2 cents here and there. I feel like many a times when a person starts their healing journey, they want to rush into the phase where they're now talking to people to a point where they start faking it, because you can fake a conversation with anyone. I know I can.
Definitely.
We all can.
And faking exactly. So and faking your emotions doesn't necessarily help you get over that particular hurdle. So you need to get to a place where you're comfortable with yourself enough to sit with your pain, to be able to not rush into and emotionally. And then once you've gotten to that place, only then can you now venture to find a person who might not understand you, and also be open to the fact that people also have their own issues. They might not receive your pain or your story the way that you want them to. They might interpret it their own way, the way they've experienced pain. You need to be open to these many things. So it kind of feels like you need to have healed to a particular degree in order for you to continue your healing journey. Because if you go in there with your head in a different place, you might actually end up hurting yourself even more. So the whole healing thing is, it's quite tricky. It's quite a tricky journey. But if we are brave enough, and if we are willing enough to sort of take that step, that extra step, because it's all about taking extra steps. It's about taking one step and then an extra step on top of that. I feel like that might actually do or take us a long way in the process.
That's true. That's true. Yandy, you've been quiet.
Yes. Now I'm listening. Yay.
Yeah.
What I could add is I love the analogy of taking the knife out of your back and not using it to hurt someone else. Because, like everyone is saying, it's a journey. And the first part of the journey is pulling it out of your back. So that's the pain. And then you know that you have the power to either do good or bad with your experiences. So that would be the knife. And it's really powerful to think of it as a journey, because you never really get done healing. There's no time where you're like, and I'm properly healed, I can tackle the next problem or the next challenge. You're constantly in a cycle of healing. And I think saying that you don't use the knife to hurt someone else is you saying you're gonna try your best, to heal and whatever. But also in your process of healing, you don't damage other people.
True. We kind of went with everything you guys have said. We went into the direction of what was going to be the sixth part that we were going to talk about, like society's views on healing and therapy and all of that. But before I say that, it's like there is one thing that my sister and I had a conversation about, is the whole thing of that Travis was saying, of the fact that everyone is going through different things, right? And it's like, you find that some they go through these things, and they are able to still have grace towards other people in the fact that they understand that someone else is also going through stuff. And then there's some who literally, because they're going through stuff, they take it out on other people. So I'm just like, it's always been a question in my head. I'm just like, yes, I personally have grace for people because I recognize that they might be going through stuff. But where do you draw the line? Like, some people will literally hurt you and hurt you and hurt you. And although you understand in your head that, okay, maybe it's coming from a place of them being hurt, where does your grace draw the line? Like, I have grace for you. Where do I draw the line?
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
I always say this to my friends. There's no reward in heaven for enduring abuse on earth. So once you feel like it's getting abusive, stop, cut them off. Graceful or not, it should never threaten your own journey or hurt you. And then you keep making excuses for a person like, oh, I know they're hurting. You're not an emotional punching bag. They need to work through their issues.
Exactly.
And nothing
Okay.
I think I'm with Yandy. I'm always big on cutting off people. The minute their process infringes on yours, please, I'm gonna need you to use an actual Caesar to cut them off, because what the hell, So I really feel like we yet to reach a point where other people extend the same courtesy and grace to you as you do unto them. So if you can't understand that, as much as you going through something, I might be going through something, and you should cut me some slack, then I have no business keeping you around.
True.
I don't know if that makes me a bad person, but second chances for what?
You know, some people will be like, we're on the third, second
For
chance.
who?
You know you're doing
Okay,
it wrong.
so yeah,
Because I feel like the more you give chances is the more
that's very wrong.
the more you give chances, the more
They
the
know you
person.
can let a lot slide.
Exactly. They're just like, Yazid, I can just rock up anytime and
Yeah.
keep doing my ish. I don't curse on my YouTube channel. I keep doing my ish and continue. So I get that. I get that a lot. So now we're gonna dive into the deep and the sensitive stuff. We're gonna dive into the childhood traumas. The childhood traumas. We're gonna dive into that.
Hectic.
It takes
That's very hectic.
Trust me, I literally 2 days ago, I think I told Yandy 2 days ago, I literally realized what my triggers were and what my childhood traumas were that caused those triggers. And I bawled my eyes out. Like I was like, damn.
Hectic.
And
they're just so random, friend.
Yeah.
It's so random.
It's not an easy thing to talk about.
Because I was even telling Andy, I was like, this whole time, I felt like I was just blank in terms of my childhood and what happened. And when I explained to her, it was the little things. It's because, and I realized it's because the little things matter to me, like in everything, the little things matter to me. So I was just like, it's the little things that I didn't pay notice to that made such a huge impact on my entire personality, or half of my personality and half of how I think as well. So I was like, hectic. So I did say here that we don't have to necessarily share a personal story or a personal experience, but we can like talk about childhood traumas and how they actually really impact us as adults. Yeah. So anyone want to take it away?
I'll try.
Yeah.
Thank you, Travis.
May I, please,
Take it away.
Gentlemen. This kind of dives into the realm of psychology, and psychologically, from a psychological perspective, they say that our personalities are formed through nature and nurture, if I'm not mistaken. And nurture doesn't only come from your household; it can be from your friends, it can be from your neighbors, it can be from so many areas that before you know it, your childhood traumas don't even come from your family, right? And very often, I've seen a few people who have experienced attachment issues because they saw a friend's parents get divorced. They've seen a friend's family go through fights to a point where they failed to attach to their own families, and you ask yourself, but why? And it's a tricky thing, because the more we try and find the why, is the more we tend to focus less on the how, because the more you find the why, the more you're going to keep asking why, and the how becomes problematic. So for childhood traumas, I don't even necessarily have to be childhood traumas. You could have a trauma at your age right now that could define you for the rest of your life. You could have a traumatic experience right now that could render your childhood traumas useless. For example, I know a friend who failed one test straight out of high school, and they were sort of like a perfect A student, like everything was amazing. And they got to university, first year they failed the test, and they were like, wait, what? They broke apart, they fell apart, to a point where I was failing to understand how this could happen. But then again, understanding that failure for some people isn't just a test I can make up for in the next test. It's more a character development, a character trait type of thing. And to see how trauma can actually affect you at different stages of your life, that it doesn't have to be childhood based. You could have a perfect childhood, but then have something happen to you as an adult, and that could change you for, you know, the rest of your life. But to try and share a personal experience, because I challenge myself to do these things. The worst trauma so far. I say so far because I know so many more coming. So the worst trauma so
Don't
far.
say that. Don't say that. Don't put that over
you
your
can't
life.
avoid it. No, but you can't avoid it though. It's part of living. It's how you deal with it that defines who you are.
True.
Okay.
So
Okay.
a trauma. Let's not call it a childhood trauma. Let's call it a trauma. A trauma that I would say kind of created a version or some kind of burden on me would be the death of my grandfather, who was a father figure to me. It created this hella macho, no room for femininity type of Travis, which is not necessarily me. I do have a feminine side, but because he died and there was no father figure left in the household, I had to sort of assume that position before my time. I adopted this macho personality at like 5 or something, and it sort of stuck with me through and through. I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. It might be, you never know. But I feel like because I understand that I don't necessarily need to impose my macho-ness onto other people, then it's not a bad thing. But that's just a rare example of things that we might get from our childhood, from our traumas, that actually might be helpful. Excuse me, I need water. That might be helpful in the long run, but yeah. So it's kind of strange to see how, although I am conscious of the fact that this is from a trauma, it happened at a young age. It's not something I can just change automatically. Like that it's not that it's difficult to change. It's almost impossible if you want to change it, like as quickly as some might even say it's detrimental. Because they always say that, they're like, yeah, no, your childhood traumas are detrimental to who you are. So you need to change them, or you need to deal with them, whatever deal means. And they never really tell you what dealing with them is. This I realized, or I noticed from the last appointment I had with the psychologist, who said that it would be helpful, whatever that means, to deal with my trauma. And it's the dealing aspect which is the challenge. You never really told. And being macho, I'd say this is the worst part of it. Growing up in an African household, you're told that as a man, dealing with your emotions isn't the thing that you do. You just push it behind you and you keep moving. That's what African men do. And now to be told to deal with pain, you're like, but what is deal?
How do you do that?
Right? But what is deal? Like, do I just push it behind me and I keep moving, doing what I've been doing, and then it's just sort of, and then it comes to haunt you in the long run.
From what Travis said, I think when he spoke about how in growing up in African household basically shapes how you heal when you're grown. I feel like with me, when I started therapy, when I told my dad, I could see that he really didn't want to dive into it, but at the same time, he's curious to know why would I feel like I would need to talk to someone. Can't I talk to him or any of my family members? I just feel like growing up in African homes where really psychology and going for therapy is something that's not like a norm. It's hard for you to get to a point where you are open to dealing with things the way that you see fit or the way that you've read people have dealt with them, and actually be open to trying it. I know with me, I think it was 2019, with one of my childhood traumas, which was I was bullied, okay? So I thought, because I've never gotten to a point where I was just like, okay, I'm healing from this. I was just like, okay, I was bullied, it's whatever. Until in 2019, I thought I was healed. And then I was at the mall, and when I walk out, I see the girl that bullied me in primary. And then to me, I'm just like, okay, because you bullied me, you're just going to go about your business and not say hi to me or anything. And then when she greets me with such an attitude, I legit felt my eyes tearing up. So at that point in time, I was just like, okay, so I don't think I have healed as much as I wanted to convince myself I have. So I feel like with us, it's always a thing what you think, you convince yourself that, okay, I've healed, I'm over it, until you encounter a trigger that actually awakens in you with, okay, I'm actually not as fine as I think I am. It's just that I've been pushing it to the back, or I haven't been encountering anything that makes me realize, actually, I need to work on this part of my life.
That is so true. Same. I was also like, I agree with that. I was also like bullied as a child.
Mm-hmm.
And for how long? 4 years, I think. 4 years. And I was just like, I thought I was fine. I thought I was fine because Nami, it was the same thing. I came to, when was it? It was last year where I realized that, I don't think I'm okay. Because it really took a knock at my confidence. And that's why I laugh every time someone says, you're so confident, you're so like, you have that flamboyant personality. And I'm just like, it took a while to get here, a long time to get there. And there are still, even now, insecurities that I'm dealing with. And on some days they are at their peak, like to the point where I'm just like, I don't want to see people. I don't want people to see me. So I'm still just, because even when I speak to you, and I'm just like, okay, I am a homebody, right? I like being at home. I like my own company. But at the same time, I had to think about the fact that there's also parts of me that like staying at home because I don't like to be seen by people. Literally, my height doesn't even help me because I'm taller than most people. And then you can see me. I can't be as invisible as I want to be. So that doesn't work in my favor. So sometimes it's just like, I just want to disappear, especially when I'm in like a large crowd. I'm just like, I just want to disappear. I don't want to be here. And that's how it is. So I'm agreeing with what you're saying, that it does come up at some point when you think you are done with it. And also back to what Travis was saying about like how therapy is seen and how mental health is seen in the Black society, especially for guys. Like that's why it's probably hard for them to find a safe space where they can actually talk to someone and feel like they can be vulnerable with someone in that aspect of their lives, because they just taught ukuthi indoda ayikali, basically. A man can't show emotion.
Yeah, it's not cool. It's not cool to be vulnerable. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm. It's not a good thing, or it's not a manly
good
thing.
look on a man.
Exactly. And I feel like, in a way, that we're not saying that guys must be like, we're not saying that they must just change their masculinity, but there must be a balance. There must be a balance of the fact that you are also, remember that as a man, you are a human being as well. You have emotions, you'll be stressed.
Before you are a man.
Exactly. You don't have to hold everything together under your control. And even when you're breaking down, you still feel like you have to like fake it till you make it. That is one saying I do not like, by the way, fake it till you make it, because personally, I feel like you won't make it if you're faking it. Like, those two things can't coexist. So I feel like, men, I don't know how men can be taught that they matter as well, and that their mental health matters as well, because it's something that is like put into society. You grow up with it, and to undo a mentality is a hard thing to do. So yeah.
I have a question. What does what is a balance? Like I heard Nolutan was saying, there needs to be a balance in the way that men are emotional and their state of manliness or manhood. What then defines a balance? Like how can a man be as emotional as a man is allowed to be emotional and still retain his status of manhood? Like what defines a balance in that context? Because I have no idea.
Can I jump in?
Yes, please do.
I don't know. I don't know if it's for men per se, but I think everybody should have that balance. So you're not completely stoic and you pretend like you're unaffected, but at the same time, you're not completely emotional to the point where we need to remind you to pull yourself together. So I think
Yeah.
striking a balance would be admitting, acknowledging the issues and pains and whatever, and dealing with them in a way that is constructive and that you don't feel like you're alone. I think that's a hard thing for men because they have to admit that, okay, I'm feeling what I'm feeling in a society that says it's not okay for a man to feel. But at the same time, it's not okay for a guy to be stoic. I wouldn't want to be around people who pretend like they're unaffected or detached from reality with their emotions. So I think a balance would be somewhere in the middle between dealing and also admitting that you're human and allowing yourself to fail and go through.
Yeah. And also, what you
I feel
do
like
realize, oh, yeah, continue.
okay. Yeah. Okay. I feel like there's this unrealistic expectation that we are ignoring, especially in the African context, where African men cannot afford, you're not man enough if you can't, pick a side, which is what sort of is detrimental for the African man. Or yeah, I'm sorry, I'm deviating into the man's side, but it's one of the most neglected. The man psychology is one of the most neglected psychologies in society today because men are just supposed to be okay. We're just supposed to take this stuff and shrug it off and be okay with whatever happens. And it's sad because healing for the man and healing for the woman are two different things, even in the African context. You might say that it's okay for a man to cry, it's okay for a man to show his emotions, but amongst other men, you can never come to a group of men just crying and going through their pain and going through their emotions, talking about things that they might, get rather. Instead, you find a group of men, but he's okay. Let's see. Can you guys, men, rather, have to our own devices to find solution to this problem, society, where if you're not the strong and silent type, then you don't qualify as a strong man, which sucks, unfortunately.
I think when you said that men can't be as vulnerable and emotional in front of other men, I feel like that's something I don't want to say only men can fix, but then if you can be vulnerable when in front of women and you can't in front of your friends or whatever, then your friends are the problem. Then that means men should be the one that open up a space where they're comfortable with being vulnerable with each other. Do you get it?
Yeah. Because that brings us to the space of your friends. Actually, you need to have friends that are good for your mental health as well. Like you can't be also like what links you together with your friends. If your friendship is based on just you gossiping about the latest news about celebrity, for example, or something that is not solid, like literally in a friendship, I feel like personally, you have to have a mixture of being fun and whatever. And also when it comes down to it, you know that they got you for real. Yeah. And you can talk to them, you can confide in them. And that doesn't mean you have to have an entire soccer ball squad of friends. No, literally, I know within my friends, I have different friend groups who have never really met together. Only now you guys are meeting together. But
And you have a lot of friends.
me, okay, let me put it this way. I have a lot of people I know. I have my friends, and then I have close people, like my ride or dies. Like, this is the person I go to when I have an issue, and this is the person that gets me, right? So I feel like in every friend group, eventually you're able to pick out who's the one person that I can confide in. Other than, for the longest time, it's been my siblings, right? I still confide in my siblings. But at a certain point, you're like, okay, I need people outside, my friends outside that I can actually confide with. And it took me time to get those people, but I did eventually. And I feel like you need friends, like the Bible says, iron sharpens iron. You need friends like that will sharpen you, and not just people that will sugarcoat the truth. Like literally, I know I'll go to Yandi. Yandi will tell you the truth until you cry, literally. But I appreciate that because I know that she won't lead me astray. When I go to her, that's why when I go to her, I'm just like, I'll give her both sides of the story. What I did, what the person did, and what happened. So that it's an equal balance and she can assess the situation. And she will tell me the honest truth. If I was wrong, I was wrong. If I was right, I was right. And main thing is, how do we move forward? So I feel like as men, other than getting together and having a couple of drinks or talking about girls, I think you guys need friends that actually care about your well-being, your mental well-being. Friends you can talk to, you know that this is my brother. It's more than a friendship. This is my brother. I know that he's got me. I know he will tell me the truth. I know personally, I don't want a friend that will sugarcoat something to me. Yes, the truth hurts. It stings. It stings.
It's
the truth hurts. But I like to know the truth. Rather tell me the truth from the get-go. So I feel like if men are really start being really honest about these things, then that's gonna be the start. And what Mo was saying is that the men are the only people that can fix the men problem. So yeah.
I think whilst you're on that, on meaningful friendships, sometimes when you have people around you that care for you that much, they even heal you without you knowing that you're actually in a process because they're that good for you. Sometimes you don't even realize that, okay, I'm in a journey and I'm actually going towards me being fine and healing. But because they're that good for you, they heal you without even you intentionally intending on going through that journey. Exactly. So it's really good to have good friends. And I think men should look into having more meaningful friends that are there for you, as you had said, brothers.
Yeah. Brian, you have been very quiet. Talk to us.
Yeah, I've been listening. For me personally, I think that the only problem with men is that we don't open up that deeply into conversation, like to talk about real things, but we tell each other the truth when it comes to certain things. But something that is like personal to you, you don't go to your friend as a guy and tell him, oh, this and this, I have this problem, you feel me? They'll take it as that guy is weak and stuff like that, you feel me? So it's not like something normal to do in today's society. You see the TV, there's a lot of things that come into play in this time that we're living in. TV, a lot of things brainwashes us what is cool and what is not cool. So we do tell each other the truth, but it depends on what the person is going through. You never go and tell someone, okay, I have this deep problem, because you know this person will not be able to help you also. So maybe you only stick to family, not someone outside, because you don't trust that person outside or you don't know him well enough. For me. So yeah.
You know what Travis was saying can be flipped onto women as well. Like if you're a woman who is incredibly strong and you don't show emotion, pardon my French, they call you a bitch. If you're a woman who is emotional and you're very feeling, they call you fragile. So it works both ways, I think, the whole balance thing.
Yeah, it's true.
But I feel like in this world that we live in, it can never be equality, you feel me? So some people will be fragile, some people will be strong. It depends on how you grow up and stuff. For me personally, I didn't have any traumas when I was younger. So it was that type of thing whereby you're a man, you can't cry like he said, like Travis said. You can't cry, you're not allowed to cry. If something happens to you, you fall, you're not allowed to cry. You need to fake it and feel like, okay, it's okay, I'm a man, I'm strong. You can't act vulnerable in front of people.
Yeah.
Even if you're going back like Bible times and things like that, the man's representation to the world needs to be a strong figure, you feel me? Most of the time, he needs to be someone that's strong, not someone that is weak. So that's the thing, it's something that has been there instilled in us for a very, very long time.
Yeah. There's a lot that plays a role of like people just, and also I think it always goes back to what Brian was saying of the fact that the people you talk to as well, which goes back to the whole thing we were saying as of friends. Because literally you could go open up to someone now and next minute your story is all over the place. Like you literally spoke to a reporter. Your story is all over the place and you're just like, yo, like
How?
what happened? I thought I could trust you type of thing. And so yeah, it also plays a role of trust as well. And I feel like that's why people just walk around like, yo, I got this, I got my own, I don't need anyone, because of the fact that some people haven't proven to be as trustworthy as they say they are.
Right? If you're not able to trust the people that are around you to talk to them, I feel like a therapist is the best way to go, because if you tell them whatever you're feeling and open up to that person, your story will not like go all over the place, you feel me? But the fact that you spoke to that person, you'll be like, okay, I've released this energy, if I can put it in that way, and spoken about how I felt to this person, and my story will not go all over the place. So yeah.
And also like getting a good therapist, as in, because like I was speaking to
I was about to say, it's so hard.
Yeah.
So we have that.
I was speaking to someone, I'll just say someone because they told me this in confidence, but like generally you must pick a good therapist, because sometimes they can literally, because I know this person, it was literally like the therapist played mind games on her and told her she's crazy, this, that, and the other. And I felt so bad listening to the entire story, because I was like,
what?
I think that's unethical.
That's not good.
Yeah, I doubt it is.
That's not good.
I've gone to three.
A therapist said
and
that.
with all three of them, I feel like
the therapist did that straight up. And I was like, nah, that's not how you do it. I did not study psychology. I'm not a psychologist, but I know for a fact that's not what you say to people.
You're not supposed to tell me I'm crazy.
No.
Like I'm coming to you to talk to you, and now I'm crazy.
I think something that's underplayed or that we don't emphasize on a lot is self-compassion. I think if you're going to be in a journey or on a journey of healing, you need to practice some compassion with yourself. You're not going to get it done overnight, or it's not going to look like it does in the textbook, like I was sad and now I'm happy. So just practice a little bit of compassion.
That's true. That's true.
Wow.
So, okay. I'm going to go in the order that I'm seeing. Brian, give us some advice on how to take care of your mental health.
It's okay. First of all, it's okay to talk about it to people that you trust, not just anyone, whether it's family or friends that you trust, really, really trust. And it's okay also to go and see a psychologist and talk about it. For me, so yeah, it should be seen as something cool if you open up. I don't feel like it should be seen as something bad, because most of the things we do these days that are right seem to be bad because of the way the world is changing. So you need to be comfortable with yourself doing something. that you feel like it's right for you. Yeah.
Yep. Nobile.
I think the one advice I can give the subscribers and the watchers is that you're not going to get it right at first try. It's literally a trial and error. So as Yandi said, be compassionate, allow yourself to fail and try another method, because it's not a one size fits all type of journey. You have to try and try again until you get it right. So I think that's that. And always put yourself first. I feel like for you to always, sometimes some people literally go through the most because of other people, just because you're such a giver and you're always trying to save somebody else. At some point, it's okay for you to just be and just be about you and nobody else.
Yandi?
My advice would be, if you find that a person, a situation, or whatever is threatening your inner peace, cut them off. Don't be afraid of those scissors now. Just cut them off and on.
Use the kitchen scissors too, the ones to cut chicken, straight up.
Use the garden shears. You know those big ones that you have to cut.
Oh.
Prioritize.
Yes.
Prioritize yourself, your peace, and your sanity. Cut.
Everything.
Cut.
Travis?
My advice would be to read. I feel like reading has been, over the years, it's been dulled down to a point where, you know, people just go on YouTube, search of it. There's a certain power that comes with reading. You know, read the Bible, read books on healing, read these many sources that could help you through your journey. Because if you don't read, then you're basically stuck with only, that is, it's not really a bad thing, but you're only stuck with the perspectives of the people that you are exposed to on a daily basis.
Yes.
Whereas if you read, you're sort of exposed to this, you know, vast array of perspectives that could sort of help you navigate your journey. So my advice would be to first and foremost read.
Right. So my advice would probably just be taking from everything you guys said. Read, go to therapy. If you feel you need to, do whatever makes you happy. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone else whatsoever. Do what makes you happy. If it's going to therapy, go do it. And don't rush your healing process. Sometimes you will feel on top of the world. Sometimes you will feel really bad. It's okay. You are human. You are not a robot. So just keep at it. And yeah, basically, all I can say is that men, awareness to all men, you guys matter, your mental health matters. So surround yourselves with good friends, guys. Actually, men and women, all of y'all, surround yourselves with good friends, surround yourselves with good people. Connect with them, speak to them. They are there for a reason. And yeah, guys, pray. I will always tell you guys to pray. It's important. And yeah, thank you guys for being here. Hey guys, we have less than 1 minute remaining. Thank you guys for being here. And to everyone who's going to be watching.
Thank you for inviting us.
No
Yeah, it was actually
problem. And anyone who's watching, subscribe, click the notification bell so you get a notification every time I post a new video. Like, comment, share the link to your friends. You know what gotta be done. Peace out. Love y'all.
Bye.
Bye.